Hello, all. This is Dr. Dave Maslach talking to you about reciprocity.com. The E is written with a 3. And in this particular video, I want to talk about PhD preparation tips and the best books to read before your PhD or graduate school. So if you don't know me, I'm a professor of innovation strategy and entrepreneurship, and I created this whole reciprocity project to give back as much as I possibly can. There were so many people that helped me out to get through graduate school that I decided to pay the favor forward and to help you out as much as I possibly can. So normally what people would do is give you a list of a bunch of books to read during your PhD or before you do your PhD. And so what I'm thinking with this particular list is like, you've got accepted into a PhD program, and now you're sort of thinking about, well, I've got about 6 months before I actually start. What should I do between then and now? And that's what I'm going to sort of help you out with this. And I'm not going to give you sort of specific books and say, this is what you have to read and all that kind of stuff. That's up to your institution to do that. That's their job, to train you and to get all that kind of stuff. Besides, you're never going to read that. I just know you are. And so what I would recommend for you to do is sort of think about some broad areas in terms of reading. And if you just read one or two things in that particular area, that's going to help you out a lot. I remember when I was, when I was just before my PhD, I had about 6 months, and I was doing a lot of commuting. And if I would have had, if I would have had the time, or if I would have sort of focused that time on this kind of stuff, and I kind of wanted to because I was really excited. If I would have known what to read and what to do, then I would have done it, is what I'm trying to say. And so I'm trying to help you out as well. So I want you to think about the first sort of set of books I want you to think about is sort of methods and modeling books. So I would classify anything that is about sort of causation or statistics and philosophy of science, all those kind of things broadly in there. And there's two books that I think are, underrated, and I think that they probably deserve a little bit more attention. They do get attention, but not as much as they should. One of them is Lave and March. It's pretty influential for a lot of different people because it's very esoteric. So you can find that. You can often find it in a library, for example. You can get all these books in. By the way, you can get these books in the library at most sort of institutions or most places around the world. The other thing that you can do is, this is kind of, what you can do is just Google different PDF versions of this. And often there are different PDF versions. And what they do, if you don't know this, is a lot of book publishers, they'll give you the first chapter or first 2 chapters or something like that, sample, and you can get some of the sort of feel for the book from that. It's sort of figuring out whether you actually like it, and you can download it and that kind of stuff. The other thing is, I don't want to waste your time, and frankly, I don't want to waste my time either. So if there's demand for this, and if there's people that want to support this whole reciprocity project, I could do some sort of web page or get somebody to put up a web page. And put a bunch of different affiliate links and stuff like that for Amazon, but I'm not going to do that at this moment. You're far too busy. I'm far too busy at this moment. But if there's demand for it, if you're going to, put comments below and all that kind of stuff, I could definitely do it. All right. So the methods of modeling, you can look up that. Those would be really good, right? So the Lave and March, the Shadish, Cook and Campbell. The other thing is, the second thing that I would get you to think about is sort of your theoretical area. And this is a trick that I've learned in the last, 6 years, I guess, in terms of figuring out where is the best stuff that's going on. What you want to do is Google PhD syllabuses in your specific area. So just Google PhD syllabus in strategic management, for example, PhD syllabus in finance. And what you're going to do is you're going to get these PDF documents of people from all around the world that have they're essentially curated lists of the best stuff to read in those particular areas, right? So if you want to read about PhD in corporate finance, just do PhD corporate finance syllabus, and you're going to have stuff that's going to pop up depending on the different institutions. And you can look at all that kind of stuff, right? And you can get an idea of what are the influential books in those particular areas by looking at those kind of things, and you might be able to read a couple of them. It's going to help you out during your first year in making sure that it's easier. The first year is a little crazy. You're going to be totally overwhelmed. And so if you could do a couple of the readings beforehand, that's going to help you out. The third thing that I would recommend for you to do, just for two reasons. One of them, you're not going to have that much time later on to do this, and the other one is to actually get a sense of storytelling. So I want you to go and read a couple of sort of general idea books for general audiences. There's all sorts of books that are out there, that sort of nonfiction stuff that general audiences read. And the reason you want to look for the ones that are doing well, and the reason why I'd suggest that is a lot of what we do is crafting a story and figuring out what is a nice story to tell. That's just really what our career is figuring out, not only doing good science, but part of doing good science is figuring out the right story to tell. So you can go out and sort of look to see at how people are actually selling these particular ideas and telling these particular ideas. So, a hint is a lot of people, what they'll do with these books is they'll tell you sort of an anecdote at the beginning, or some sort of story to get you into it right at the immediate beginning of the book, and then you start reading it and carrying forward, right? So you just need something that's real. And the reason is it adds realism, I guess, I don't know, into the particular idea, and then you start jumping into it and you're really excited about it. So a couple of books that I have read just in the last year is honestly, they're just in no order at all. They're just kind of good books that have stood out for me in the last year. So Daniel Kahneman's book, and actually I do Audible, by the way, for a lot of this kind of stuff while I'm commuting and all that kind of stuff. So Daniel Kahneman's Thinking Fast and Slow, that was pretty good. It's a pretty meaty book, but you can get some of the ideas and sort of behavioral economics or the sort of psychology of all that kind of stuff. Anything that's written by Michael Lewis and Malcolm Gladwell, those two folks, they just write really cool stuff. They're really fun to read. In Moneyball, for example, there's one, Flash Boys, I think it was, that Michael Lewis wrote about how the economy is completely, trading markets have completely, exchanges have completely changed in the last few years. That one was just remarkably cool. Malcolm Gladwell books like The Tipping Point and all that kind of stuff. They're just really fun. And if you don't know, what they do is that those folks take the ideas that academics have, and then they just convert them to a practitioner audience. And then they try to make sense of what they're doing and put all these ideas together. But they could do it much better than what a lot of people can write. So just learning how to do it is going to be helpful. One that's blew me away in the last year, and I've told a lot of people immediate to me about, which it was just really cool, super fascinating, is Sapiens by Noah Harare. That book, Sapiens, is just remarkable in terms of how this person, he's an academic, but just the way that he could tell a story of how we all started as human beings, and we evolved over, centuries and generations and stuff like that. It's really cool. And another book that was really cool, and you're just like, wow, this is really cool story. It's a lot of it's sort of evolutionary theory, I guess, is where it would be placed in, is Jared Diamond's book, The Guns, Germs, and Steel. Really interesting stuff. And it just helps you get an idea, just gives you an idea of what some good, really fascinating research is all about, right? That people have done some great stuff. Nassim Taleb's book, the Black Swan, that one's really interesting. It's just interesting. He's got an interesting personality too. So, and it definitely shows through in the book. But you want to check that stuff out, because he's just, when you read the book, the guy is just brilliant. And so he's got a lot to say with it. So you want to read it in terms of understanding, and it's going to help you out in terms of understanding statistics. And it's not hard read, but you're going to get a good understanding of how the world works. And you're going to be fighting this battle all the way through. Once you start understanding this kind of stuff that he points out, all the power laws and rare events and all that kind of stuff, you're just going to be like, oh my God. Once you start reading sort of regular statistics and stuff, and you're in your first year and your second year, you're going to be like, oh my God, this is going to drive you bananas. But, it's the world we live in. Because there's Yeah, I won't get into that at this moment, but there's kind of norms in how science is actually done, and it's going to be an uphill battle fighting these particular norms. The other thing is another book that was just really good, sort of practitioner book in terms of leading you into the story, was The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. It was good. It was just a really good book, super fascinating, and draws upon many different areas. So, and then the last one, the fourth one that I would want you to do is just read stuff just for the joy of it and go out there and just have fun with what you're doing. And, there's two reasons for that. First of all, you're not going to have a lot of time for just sort of general reading going forward. I don't. That's why I do audible books. And when I'm jogging or when I'm commuting, I just don't. I don't want to do any reading at night. I don't want to do any reading on the weekends. That like just kind of sitting there and doing reading. I already do enough. And so you're going to feel the exact same way because that's all you're going to be doing, especially in those first couple of years where knowledge is getting crammed into your brain. But the other thing that's going to happen, or the benefit of doing that, is you're going to expand your mind and get some new ideas. And sometimes you find them really cool, interesting ideas that way. Carl Weick is famous for sort of suggesting that particular thing. He's a social psychologist at University of Michigan. So he was just really fascinating. He's got really cool ideas. He sort of suggests to read broadly like that, and I'd highly recommend it. So one book that blew my mind this year, that I was just like, this guy is incredible. I'm like, reading it, right, or listening to it. I was just blown away. I had to tell absolutely everybody about it. I actually wanted to do a video about it, but whatever. I'm just blown away by this guy. Once you read the story or you listen to the story, and it's only on Audible, Trevor Noah's biography, it's called Born a Crime. And it's about him growing up in South Africa and then becoming, this big star on The Daily Show. Oh my God, you will never, ever, at this moment, you will never believe that this person existed. Like this guy is real and that this stuff is real. I was like, this is not real. There's no way that this is real. But, apparently it is. This is what he wrote about, right? So the whole thing is just absolutely bananas. Just read it or listen to it on Audible. Highly recommend it. So by the way, it's not a pitch for Audible in any sort of way. I haven't sort of done any of that kind of stuff, but you can get a free book on Audible. So you can use that. Like if you haven't signed up, you can use that one to get this one for Trevor Noah and just not read anything else. Because this book is just, God, that guy is crazy. Like just the story is crazy, and how he's the equivalent story. And I know I'm babbling at this moment. The equivalent story is I'm blanking on. Anyways, whatever. My ADHD brain, right? All right. So, but anyways, that's what I was thinking about. Slumdog Millionaire. You got to read, or he's like the Slumdog Millionaire story. And once you learn about it, you're just like, oh my God, this guy's crazy. Anyways, so that's all I would think about. And in terms of reading beforehand, and you could take notes and all this kind of stuff as you're reading, but the general gist of it is just to, have a little bit of fun and get prepared if you want to get prepared for your PhD. So that's it. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Do subscribe to the YouTube channel, and I will see you later. Take care. Bye.